We're live. Things recording. You can't see me, can you? Hang on a
I
second.
can't see you. There you go.
Whoa,
Looking great.
whoa. No, I had to jump into the shower there. I had the baseball hat on and the t-shirt and the shorts. Rocking the work from home look,
Yeah, for sure.
It's good. Uh, you want to get going or what?
Yeah, sure. Might as well.
Yeah.
4:16. Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Welcome everyone. I just gotta adjust my volume here. All right. Friday afternoon, April 9th, weekly roundup. Ben, before we get going
Yeah.
here, have you been out practicing your cycling?
I have not. Well, you saw the bike I was riding last week. I sent you a picture of it, the
Yeah.
cruiser.
Yeah, the banana bike.
I think I should ride the 100K in that.
You'd probably still beat me. I'd have to draft off you still. But yeah, anybody doesn't know, Ben and I were practicing for the 100K CN cycle for Chio. What is it? May 2nd is when we're
Coming
gonna
up.
do it.
Yep.
Self-supported this year because obviously because of COVID, same as last year. So,
Mhm.
we're trying to raise like $1,000 or something like that. So it'll be good. Jose loves to ride the cruiser. It's fun to ride those things.
Yeah.
Big banana bars and the banana seat.
Yeah, I remember I was riding that a few years back. I think I told you this, and I had to stop and fix the tire, and my son biked ahead, and so I had to catch up to him, and I hammered on it. And I was passing a guy on a road bike, hammer.
Hammering on the banana bike. Hey, just cruising. That's hilarious.
All right, nobody wants to hear that.
They might. They
Yeah,
might.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, nobody wants to see the middle-aged men in Lycra, that's for sure. Not a good look.
No,
Okay. Tax season wrapping up here. Ben, did you do your taxes yet? Be honest. Be honest.
no.
No, because you're busy doing everybody else's. Right?
Yes,
Well, not
yes.
doing, but helping everybody else with theirs. We've
Yeah.
had tons of requests, so we've got. I wouldn't say we're caught up on it, but we're definitely getting as many as many
As we can.
requests
Yeah.
as we can for sure.
Talking to accountants as well and trying to make sure they got everything they need. The T5008s were pretty good this year, so there weren't too many cost bases missed. So if there is something that's missed that you don't know, I know a couple of the Invesco ones had missed cost bases, but I do have that if anyone's looking for it. Yeah, most of them are pretty good this year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any yeah, so if there's anything you're missing or you haven't started yet, definitely have a look because we know it's actually ramping up for us
Mhm.
as far as every week it gets more and more people starting to get into panic mode now.
Mhm.
Where people are starting to get panicked about not having what they need. So don't leave it to the last minute is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have any other housekeeping things you want to mention? Like internal, transactional, anything?
No, I don't think so. I
I
don't
think
think
we're good,
so.
eh?
I think that's good. Yeah.
Let's just get right into the meat and potatoes then, shall
Okay.
we?
Great.
All right. I know you mentioned a couple of things in the email that you want to talk about, but the thing that stuck out to me the most is the amount. I was reading on a headline today. The amount of money spent invested on stocks in the last 5 months exceeds the amount that was invested in the last 12 years combined.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's insane, isn't it?
It's a big number. I mean, I think it's probably it's that it's kind of that one thing I think you're waiting for at the end of each move is that last bit of money pushes in and pushes into the markets, and I think it's a signal that we need to pay attention to. I mean, the other signal that you mentioned when we spoke about earlier today is you've seen a lot of the short selling hedge funds squeezed out of the market at the same time. So you're getting that convexity where markets rallying, short sellers are disappearing, and so something that used to underpin a market's disappearing. And those signals to make me say that yeah, this is an important statistics that you need to pay attention to because there's a high probability that there's a pothole ahead this year.
Are you understating the pothole, you think?
Yeah, so obviously Hedgeye, I talk about on a continual basis. They continue to update their daily data. They just came out with their Q2 chart pack, and it was very interesting. But as they look at what's happening in the world, they got kind of quad 3 and 4 in the back half of the year globally, and quad 4 if everyone remembers it's slowing growth and slowing inflation, and high beta, high risk stocks don't like that. So I think that there is a pretty significant downside move for anything risk. So the intention is to tilt to defense and started looking at puts again in earnest. Continue to watch those treasury bonds and yields. We're starting to be a little bit toppy. US dollar looks like it's starting to come back to life again. We had the Japanese yen, I believe, bottom this week, and so yen's starting to rally here. So lots of signals that say we're heading towards that kind of setup. And so Hedgeye still believes we go into quad 4 in Canada and the US, which means you got to get prepared to play defense.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've actually noticed the last month, right? Like you've got this warning of potentially a bubble bursting, right? But on the other side too, they keep talking about, the strength of the economy and I'm reading here on the other side of the page, the economy is on the cusp of a major boom and economists believe it could last, in the roaring 20s, right? So y- we're just saying the economy is going to be so much better for a long period of time, yet they're expecting a big bubble. How does that happen? I mean,
How does that reconcile? Well,
yeah.
most economists are wrong, is one of the answers.
Okay, good.
But
I'm gonna quote you on that one. That one's going on Twitter in about 6 minutes.
I think I mean, you look at the economy and the markets are connected, but they're not one and the same. So while I think an economist can sleep well at night and say we're going to have economic expansion over the next couple of years, what the market doesn't like is the rate of change of that number. And so if we come into Q2 this year, we print a 6% GDP growth, but then Q3 we go to a 4% GDP growth in the US. I mean, that's a 2% negative rate of change move. Markets don't like that. So an economist on one hand can say, okay, well, the economy is going to grow. So what's everyone so panicked about? On the other hand, you have to say, well, what's the market going to do with that? And if you get decelerating GDP activity and decelerating inflation at the same time, you're going to get the market sell off. So, I know it's not, I mean, it's, I guess, kind of counterintuitive to look at the absolute number and say everything's going to be fine. But you have to look at what the direction is and rate of change terms.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Um, Before I forget, well, I always forget. If anybody wants to jump in with a question, you don't have to wait to the end. You can jump in anytime if you have anything that's relevant to what we're talking about.
Hmm.
You have a question, you even have a comment, you want to jump in there, say something, or put something in the chat. I'll definitely read it.
Mhm.
Unless it's Jose talking about our Lycra. Yeah, you guys can jump in anytime. Okay, let's move on to before we get on to what was done in the portfolios, let's talk about something big coming up. Coinbase released their earnings this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think they probably did it for multiple reasons. Obviously, they're on track to release their earnings, but their IPO is actually next week, April
Yep.
14th. Yeah. So it's been very interesting to follow the growth and the statistics. I mean, their earnings came out. I think their 2019 earnings were 500 million, 2020 earnings were a billion, and Q1 of 2021 earnings were 1.4 billion, which is obviously enormous growth and speed. Margins as well were 60%. So, it's not only as a high growth business, it's a high profitability business as well. And so it'll be interesting to see as they come to market here, what happens to capital. Does it start to flee out of some of the other names like MicroStrategy or out of some of the actual direct Bitcoin, and people want to take a position in the company itself, Coinbase? It's going to be interesting to see. And as we look at the speed of adoption, we've talked a few times about this kind of digital wallet adoption, and people have started to open digital wallet accounts. The speed has been astronomical. I mean, if we look at what's happened with like Venmo and Square, which are Venmo and Cash App, which are PayPal and Square's tools, they've gone from 0 to 60 million plus users in both of those cases, which is a feat that took JP Morgan 30 years to do, and they did it in 2. So it's interesting to see at how quickly these things are being adopted. And from the looks of things, we've had the SEC put a leader in place that is crypto friendly, and so little by little, the risks are kind of falling away, and so it's important to pay attention to this. I don't have any intention of buying it out of the gate, but I do certainly want to watch and see what happens to the capital over the next five days.
What do you think the stock will price in at? Do they have an estimate already? I haven't seen
Uh,
any.
yeah, I don't know what the price comes in at, but my guess is it opens 50% above where it prices.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have a digital wallet yet?
Nope.
No, me neither. I'm
No.
gonna I'm gonna get one.
Yeah,
Try it out. I'll be the guinea pig for the group.
I like it.
Hey, I'll be the
Yeah,
let you know how that works out.
that sounds good.
Yeah, why not? Hey,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
not?
yep.
Put my Bitcoin in there.
Hmm.
Not sure what I'm gonna do with it. I got the wallet now, just so I
Yeah,
can tell people. I can put it on my Facebook post or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Uh, okay, okay. Do you want to talk about the U.S. housing market?
Sure. So I'd say that's something as well. Some lots of signals always coming, and so I think we saw the kind of the trailing housing data. It looks like starting to peak out, and so these are all signals to pay attention to, right? So some of the signals we started to see a couple of months ago is first we saw kind of China start to roll over. They were the first one to come out, and their growth, they've expanded. Now they've been slowing off for about the past 6 weeks. Now that we've also in the US, now we've seen housing start to peak out. Interest rates have risen. So I think these are all signals to pay attention to. That looks like we're in kind of a topping pattern. Doesn't mean things can't go higher, which I expect some areas to continue to go higher in the short term. But these are all signals we track in real time to say, let's pay attention to this and adjust with the expectation of how things are going to play out.
Right. Was there one other thing too we wanted to get to before we talk about what's in the portfolios?
I don't think
Or
so. Just
no?
really just kind of the cycle and what's working, what's not in the market.
Yeah.
But we can dive into that after.
Okay. Let's. So what'd you do this week? This is my accountability sessions for you. Now that we're not in the same office, Ben, what did you do this week? That was productive. Let's go.
Just gonna run the camera all the time so you can see what I'm doing. So yes, like some of the spaces that I think are starting to see a little bit sluggish this week, as we saw energy a little bit sluggish. So there are some opportunities there added to energy names for people that are comfortable with it. So CNQ and XLE and Russia. had sold Freeport McMoran a few weeks ago, copper. So took a chance to look at adding some of that back in, added to Due Free, which is the duty free. So that's that's part of the reopening story, which I think is happening. Canada's obviously in this lockdown phase, but a lot of parts of the world have already said we're going back to normal. And so I think you get a reopening trade with that one. Trimmed a little profits on XLI, which is the industrials, and for clients that I own Pullin for, took a little bit of profits off on that position. So not a crazy busy week, but there were certainly a bunch of changes happening, I guess, underlying within the market. We also saw corn looking a little bit toppy here. Some of these commodities that have done quite well looking a little bit toppy. So I expect them to probably, we saw energy consolidate this week, which I expect to move higher next week. And I think we probably see energy in the high 60s, low 70s before the market rolls over. So I'd be lining up for that where and if possible.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No. So that's no, I'd say that's it from action this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it a good week as far as performance is concerned, would you say, or?
Yep. So
Do you want me to skip that question, or?
no, look, like one of those things like this, and I know we keep talking about Bitcoin, but it's been one of the most stable assets in the past 6 months, which is hard to believe. Obviously, the volatility was crazy coming into this year, but the last little while it's been quite stable. And so, a reasonable week. Returns were good and steady. The one thing that was dragging down performance the previous couple of weeks actually added to it this week, which was US dollars. And I do own some treasuries as a defensive play for clients, with those two things were up alongside the market. And so typically the bonds start to signal that we might be in kind of that phase transition. Pay attention.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at? What do you think next week's going to bring? I feel like something's going to happen next week. I feel like there's something big looming. You know what I mean? Good or bad? Good or bad? I just feel like there's something's going to happen. What do you think?
I mean, potentially. Obviously, this Coinbase IPO will be the biggest of the year, so I think that will have a probably material impact and action in the markets themselves. So you'll see maybe some action around that. I've started, as I mentioned to you prior to the call, I've started to look at S&P puts pretty seriously. So you've got volatility falling down pretty dramatically, and obviously volatility down, index high. That's the time you want to buy puts and buy insurance, because that's your perfect setup. So looking at that with seriousness. So next week we'll see. I don't have any super big concerns around what's going to transpire next week, but those are the things I continue to look at. How do I get things prepared for what I expect to happen? Because you never know when the market turns and when the buyers stop. But right now I continue to lean towards offense, with the view that there's more defense to play on the horizon.
Great. Well, I'll go with whatever you say then. Right. That's why you're the boss.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments? No.
I give two more things just before we go here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple of deals this week. The deal flows were quite a bit quieter this week than the past. So it was only a handful of, we'll say, equity deals. REIT, a couple of miners. Emira did some prefs. Quebec came to market with bonds again. They issued 30-year bonds today, which sold really well. So that's an interesting signal to pay attention to. And Algonquin did a green bond this week, which we haven't seen a lot of those. So that one sold super well. So interesting to see what's coming to market.
Yeah, sure. Pat's asking if we've done a webinar on puts. Not specifically. Did you guys talk about that did we talk about that in the options specifically? Probably
So
not to
no,
what, not as a
yeah.
strategy really.
Yeah, so it's a great question. Haven't done one specifically on puts, but I use puts as a tail hedge, so that's probably a good idea. We could probably do like a 10-minute video on that one. I think that's a great idea. So we'll take that aside
Yeah,
and come back. Thank you.
definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Donna has a question. She has her hand up.
Sure.
So Donna, if you have a mic or something, I'm just going to turn it on so you'll be allowed to talk here.
Mhm.
You're good to go, Donna.
You just have to click your microphone on, and then you'll be good to go.
Let me see here if I can do that for her.
Okay.
Doesn't look like it. Donna, on the lower left-hand side, there's a mic. A picture of a mic. If you click on that, it'll unmute you. Okay. Give that a go. No, Donna. Oh, there we go.
Hey,
Hi.
Donna.
Hi, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Good. Just wanted to congratulate Ben on a very good portfolio. Really, really happy with it. Glaxo SmithKline, nice dividend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wondered about that one.
Yeah.
But that's it. Just wanted to comment.
I love that.
You guys are awesome.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Donna.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Super. Thanks.
Okay.
Take
Bye.
care.
Do you want to talk
Yes.
about that? The dividend on that, or?
Yeah, so a lot of the names in the portfolios are a little more aggressive, but Glaxo obviously is a more defensive name. Good dividend, good company. Scott and I talked a little bit too. He said, well, what do you do if we start to slow down? Like, what are some of the things you look at? You own some of the names, the higher growth names like Sally Beauty or some of these SPACs. What do you do with that capital? And so Glaxo is an example of a good name that you would own through a slowing growth and slowing inflation. So that'd be a consumer staple name. That's something that plays good defense, and I think a good component within portfolios.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or want to pump our tires for us? Hey, pad Ben's ego. Anybody
Yeah.
else? Hey?
No.
No, that's it.
No.
Okay. Well, let's cut it there because it's a beautiful day. I've got to fire up the Barbie. What are you doing this weekend, Ben?
Well, as you know, I got a presentation coming up end April, so that's got to be submitted for April 1st. So working on that deck and make sure it gets done. We'll obviously pass that along once it's done too. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, Ben's starting his illustrious speaking career here. These videos are really starting to make the phone ring here. People want his advice, so that's good. Everybody can say we knew him when. He's a big superstar, which is great. What am I doing? Exactly what Jose is mentioning here in the comments. I'm gonna jump on that bike.
Nice.
Ben's got the fitness in the tank. He can just show up on the banana bike and hammer out 100K. I'm like regular people. I gotta, maybe work up to that 4-hour ride. So I am gonna get maybe I'll put an hour, maybe an hour and 20 in tops.
Nice.
Kind of work my way up to the 100K in for. Yeah, then that put up a gazebo. Play with the kids, basketball net. Everyday life, man.
Yeah.
We're regular people over here.
That's it. Good times.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So we didn't mention. Obviously, we recorded something last night. We got Tom Savage on the merger arb and SPACs, which is super interesting. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll come out. We're not sure. We got to wait for their compliance on that one. Sometimes when we have guests on, we have to wait for their compliance to sign off on it. So hopefully it'll be Sunday, Monday as usual, but we'll see.
Yep.
But yeah, super interesting. That's a really good one. Tom's an interesting guy, so worth the watch
For sure.
or
Good.
listen.
Yeah.
Hey guys, have a great weekend. Ben,
Excellent.
nice seeing you.
You too. Nice seeing you too. Take care.
Okay, we'll talk to you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.